Hello and welcome, Clock Tower homies. I am your host, Big Scared, and we are here for a very special broadcast of a much anticipated debate between two of our premier members, Abby's Corner and Astrid the Horror Girl. Without further ado, let me get them on screen. There they are. Say hello, folks.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe I promised blood, and I want to assure everyone that there will be, in fact, blood. Okay? There will be blood.
We are brought together today to talk about films, the reasons why we like them, the reasons why we're mad about them, and anything in between those feelings. So most importantly, I want to start with the hard-hitting question of, Abby, what is it that you love about the Criterion Collection? I'm going to let you kick it off here.
Okay, very interesting question. Was not expecting that. Okay, so here's a little bit of backstory, everybody. From the years 2013 to the year of 2020, I didn't watch movies. Not a single one of them. Thank you, Thor in the Dark World, for ruining movies for me. So for a 7-year period, I didn't watch any movies at all. Then I met a friend who introduced me to the Criterion Collection and thus reignited the passion for movies. Of course, this would also lead to Shout Factory, Arrow Video, Kino Lorber, also back into the 70s, the greatest era of film ever, / also the last year of the Wild West of film, as 1981 is when film went to die and become too, what's the word I'm looking for? Sanitize! Because if you actually watched a film between 1970 to 1981, you would notice that they're doing a lot of things that would probably be illegal, such as filming a film in a mine shaft without any precautions. So yeah, the Criterion Collection introduced me to a lot of foreign films, as well as experiencing films that I didn't know existed. But again, so do all the other ones. But there was something about the Criterion, because Criterion does a lot more international films, because they have Romanian films, they have Swedish films, Japanese film. Well, everybody has Japanese films these days. Films from Hong Kong, although if you really want to experience films from Hong Kong, you need Eureka. I could go on and on about where you could find this genre of film and blah, blah, blah. But there's more of an international flavor to Criterion than anybody else, and that's what kind of really got me hooked on them. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now...
And I saw in chat what the best film in the collection is.
We're going to hold that question. We're going to hold that one. We're going to hold
Okay.
that one. Because that is an important question. And I want to give us time to unpack it. But before we go into detail on that one, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. And it is the fact that the reason why we are here today is Astrid's assertion that Arrow is better. Astrid, why do you have this claim?
It is not directly one-to-one that Arrow Video is better. It is that they are far more noble in what they do than what Abby would suggest that Criterion does. Esteemed colleagues and followers of film and the cinematic arts, for decades, the Criterion Collection has been a foundation that has promoted the good value of preservation and the assurance that masterful works of cinema were not lost to time, as so many have been before. And We can only be mournful now that such an institution was not present at the time when we lost, like, the films of Peter Cushing when he portrayed Sherlock Holmes. He did.
Just a second, Astrid. You cut out for a moment there. Could you start over on this thought? Yes, right when you started on Peter Cushing. Thank you. You should be okay. Yeah. Yeah.
London after midnight. He originally was in Phantom of the Opera, but we'll never see London after midnight. It sucks. It is incredibly unfortunate. And that's really terrible. So there's dozens of films from that era that are lost for eternity. They're gone. And it was therefore incredibly benevolent of Criterion to undertake the ambitious venture of restoring films that were on the brink of being forgotten by time and re-releasing them. It is also worth recognizing that they do not only re-release these films, but in many cases they restore them too. Also a worthy endeavor, and it should be recognized as a great undertaking. However, it has since become clear that Criterion is not on a mission of altruistic preservation of that which may be lost. For indeed, the Criterion Collection is not interested in the pursuit of restoring all films. They have only become interested in restoring the films that they find worthy of their restoration treatment. In their catalog, there are many examples of Criterion overlooking certain films solely on the basis of them not living up to the important status that they claim a film has. Their lack of priority would damn film to oblivion forever, were it not for the knowing and discerning ways of their betters. Enter entities such as Arrow Video, who with less power, prestige, sway, and respect have fought the same battles as Criterion for that which they would overlook: the B-movies, the cult films, the important eras of exploitation, blaxploitation, and independent films made by creators of little to no renown. In the grindhouse cinemas, Criterion has always been absent. And in the Italian giallos, Criterion would ignore even Dario Argento himself. My dear colleagues, my opponent would have you believe that Criterion's mission is pure. She would defend the decision to ignore Takashi Miike's Dead or Alive trilogy and support Criterion's endeavor to protect Michael Bay's Armageddon. I ask you to understand the gravity of this conflict. The Criterion Collection has attracted the ilk and presence of the pretentious and the self-assured, those who would claim that they know better of which films should be restored and which films should die. They have the money, the power, and the reputation, and they continually squander it. Arrow Video is the restoration company of the people who love cinema in all its forms, not only the films of Kurosawa and Bergman. That is my thesis.
Wow. What an incredible stance from both of you.
Mm-hmm.
What reactions are we having to each other's claims before we dive in?
I think that it is nice and sweet that Abby is very sentimental about why she appreciates the Criterion Collection. I cannot argue against sentiment. I can only do a plea for ethics.
Oh, you know who owns Arrow Video now, right?
Why don't you enlighten us, Abby?
Essentially the hot topic of England, Zavvi, that's Zavvi, has owned them for 2 years now, and their quality went way into the shitter to the point where somebody who worked for them for 12 years was like, nah, fuck this, I'm out. And the fact that so many of their releases had so many issues that they had to do recall after recall and re-give out things, that for about a 9-month period, people were losing faith in them because of the issues when the Zavvi merger happened. They also killed Arrow Academy once they were bought by Zavvi, which is, for those that don't know, as Astrid mentioned, Arrow Video does a lot of B-movie, blaxploitation, grindhouse, and so on. Their Arrow Academy line was sort of the, hey, let's try to Criterion this up a bit, so they would release similar sort of films that would be more suited for the Criterion Collection. To be fair, Criterion also releases some stuff in the UK. So basically, they were doing each other's shtick, kind of thing. But speaking of Zavvi for 2 seconds, if you wish to get the Arrow exclusive UK stuff, you can order from Zavvi to bring it in. So stuff like Phenomena on 4K, stuff like the future they just announced it yesterday, Silence of the Lambs on 4K. However, their features are ass. See, that's always the thing. Arrow has very ass features unless they're the ones bringing it out to everywhere, all 3 regions. It's kind of ass when they have feature comparisons to Criterion. But yes, that is Arrow's owner. Now, granted, Criterion just got sold as well, though they are sold to a private person, not a hot topic of the UK. They are sold to the person who finances Wes Anderson's movies.
Oh. Another film snob in the Criterion Collection. I understand.
Now,
so
one-
hold on. I
Okay,
want to point
okay.
out something. This is exactly what I wanted to point out and identify, okay? It would be the Criterion Collection who goes, oh yeah, okay, well, the films in Criterion are better. It's easy to do something like that when you are saying, well, yeah, of course they are. We're not allowing the bad films to get in, which again, they have listed entire genres and film movements and entire directors' bodies of work as being, oh yeah, this stuff not worthy of the Criterion Collection. Things that were incredibly important and still faced the threat of being removed, but Criterion, being the film snobs they are, they just look the other way. They just turn their heads and say, you know who I think should be in here? Lars von Trier should be in here. That's what I think we should do instead. And when it comes to Zavi, just like, as you said, they've been bought out by a private entity themselves. And while it's not a company, it is still someone who invests in the films of who Criterion cannot stop jerking off to, which is Wes Anderson. It makes sense. And so now, instead of being at the whims of originally themselves, it is a little sad that the Zavi merger happened. But instead, we have somebody who has the sensibility of going, yeah, The Life Aquatic was good, deciding what can be in the movie collection.
Mm-hmm. Also, I just want to point something out since you mentioned Michael Bay. And trust me, there are worse people than Michael Bay in there, which I will get to in about 5 seconds.
Your words?
I want to point out that when they put Michael Bay's movies in there, it was when they were new. Because you cannot get the films of Michael fucking Bay anymore from the collection. So that's a thing. Now, of course, let's talk about the real shit kickers that they have in there. Mr. Alfred fucking sucks some balls. Hitchcock, because fuck Hitchcock. He makes terrible movies. Fuck him. All of his movies are ass. Get the fuck out of here. But no, they had to put his ass in the collection.
That is a bold claim.
Yeah, and despite
I
the
was
fact
the one taking down Criterion. Oh my god. I was not expecting this. The self-destruct button?
No.
Abby?
This is not the self-destruct button. This is acknowledging that they have problems, such as putting a whiny little bitch who never made a good film, Alfred Hitchcock, in there. Okay? They did that. But also, you talk about the grindhouse and the whatnot. Bitch, hello, John Waters? Last time I checked, he's not
God.
like hello.
Bringing up John Waters when it comes to exploitation.
He's in
my God.
Criterion. No, what I'm saying is that you talk about how they do not respect the exploitative era, that they do not respect the grindhouse era,
Abby.
so on and so forth. John fucking Waters is
Abby,
in here.
what you just said was basically the equivalent of, yeah, I love anime. I watch Bleach. That is the equivalent. It's like, they have John Waters. That is basically what you said.
Ridiculous. Not to mention that they have the X from outer space. If you have not seen the X from outer space, any kaiju fans out there, my god, you will find out why kaiju films have two kaijus fucking beating the shit out of each other when you watch that movie. Also, how do you explain Goku the Body Snatcher from Hell? That's in the collection.
I thought you were going to talk about Goku for a second.
No,
wait, I wasn't prepared for that.
So there you go. You have that. You claim that they do not respect the grindhouse, that they are snobs, and with the Wes Anderson. By the way, Wes Anderson, I happen to like, thank you. But again, every collection has their fucking issues. There's not a single collection where everything is pure. I'm just going to point that out. Also, if there's any Shudder fans in the house, you cancel the shit out of that right now, because Arrow Video has a much superior fucking goddamn fucking subscription streaming service that puts Shudder to shame and is the same goddamn price. Fuck Shudder. I spit on their eventual grave. But then again, spit on all streaming services. But yes, Astrid, can I help you?
Do you know what's in the Criterion streaming service?
Yes, it's $15 to get, but yes, it's a
$15.
yes. I didn't discuss, but you're about to bring up the fact that a little Canadian film by the name of Freddy Got Fingered is in there, and
That
I'm
is
sorry, I'm
correct.
fucking Canadian, and in Canada, when that movie came out, it was a big deal. Okay.
Listen, you don't have to be disrespecting Canada right now, all right? What you can do instead is just go, so Arrow Video, maybe it just has a much better streaming service than Criterion does. Perhaps we could even go further as to say Criterion as a like model for their films, they are perhaps way too overpriced in general for everything that they do, for what often equates to a Blu-ray with a nice box.
No, Arrow's the same, at least here in Canada, they're the same price here. They're not like that expensive in comparison. Blu-rays are generally the same price. Generally. So the price thing, granted, Criterion can be more on the expensive side, but generally, by the way, Freddy Got Fingered is not there anymore. I just checked because I was like, is it still there? I don't know.
They
but
knew
either
this
way,
debate was
sucks.
coming. They had to act quickly.
Fair.
Foiled again.
However, yeah, most of the time they're the same price. They're both roughly about 40 Canadian dollars, at least. Unless you go 4K, in which case they're around $50, both of them. At least at the local video store here that I have, they charge them cheaper than what Amazon does, and even the distributor here in Canada, or at least they claim to be the exclusive distributor of both. And it's like, no, you're not. I can get these fucking anywhere in this country, but okay. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, I mean, I've witnessed both streaming services, and again, I'm not a fan of streaming services to begin with, but Arrow's streaming service is pretty great. To quote Quentin Tarantino, it is the best streaming service out there. And again, Criterion is very expensive, which is why I don't recommend it unless you have cash to burn. But you mentioned Dario Argento earlier.
Are
His
you going to bring up
films
Suspiria?
are there. Not yet. They're not in this particular case, but no, his films are on there. Like you can go watch Inferno and Tenebrae right now.
But can I watch The Bird with the Crystal Plumage?
No, at least not by typing Dario.
Not as classic Giallo stuff. Only the stuff when he, was being real big and successful into the Italian horror scene. I understand. I get it.
Was Tenebrae big when he was big? I don't know when he became big, quote
part
unquote.
Of the I'm pretty sure that was part of the trilogy. The Witches trilogy. I want to send something to display if Big Scared is interested in.
I'm on it. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to show what you get with a wonderful $35 purchase of a film from Arrow Video, as opposed to something of the same price in which you receive a box and a Blu-ray. And
Okay.
no, when I think about it more, I don't think Tenebrae was Three Mothers. It was around the time period though, but still, old Argento, Lost.
It is visible on the screen now.
Excellent.
Okay.
This is a beautiful like set that we have here. You have really awesome little booklet, which I want to point out. Criterion Collection also comes with these really neat booklets in a lot of the movies. I have a couple films in both collections, and they do come with these nice, neat little booklets and discussions and stuff. But you also get this sick poster. Some Criterion releases come with posters. And also, you have these excellent shots from the film itself, wonderful pics that come with it. And also, the box is so neat for this movie. It's like, I don't know, how do you say it? Like that good feeling movie box cardboard, like that feels all smooth and shit. But yeah, this is over here about like averagely about $15 cheaper than Criterion would do for the same thing very often. And I just think that it becomes with that like, this is the Criterion film version of this movie, yes. So that is what you are paying for. As opposed to Arrow, who's just like, we understand you want good quality stuff. Here you go, champ. You hero,
also,
you legend.
Okay, full disclosure here when it comes to this. Astrid is showing you what happens if you can get it quickly enough, because eventually those releases are just a Blu-ray case. Eventually. Once this is sold out, it goes into a Blu-ray case. Trust me, because you can bring up... Excuse me for a moment. And also, they don't do that for every release, because trust me, I have the Mallrats release, and it was just a plastic slipcover over it, not a box. Because
That's why
eventually,
you're not paying the $35 for it.
I paid for it. Trust me, I paid for it. And also, I wished they were 35 American kanjin but no, okay, it wasn't $35. I wish that I paid $35 for the 4K of the bird with the crystal plumage. I paid like 60 for that.
That sounds like a Canadian shipping issue. If I'm being 100% honest there.
Also, Big, I am sending you a photo of what eventually the arrows become, which is again just a standard case. And yeah, a lot of the time the Criterion releases are like that. However, if you'll excuse me for a moment as I try to get up. Oh, you know I'm bringing up the big guns.
I'm gonna try and make a bet if this is the Ingmar Bergman collection or not.
See, you get... I don't know if I'm in frame.
Oh, Gogeta.
You get this wonderful thing, okay? Full page write-ups. Beautiful artwork that I'm having trouble displaying, but you get the point. I'm trying not to kill the book at the same time. Each movie having full displays. Wonderful, right? And yes, I did pull the Bergman set, but the Bergman set is, much harder to show off, because they do shitty things, which they also do with the Godzilla. Instead of having them in proper ring things, they're little slip covers, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Those are terrible. Those will damage your discs. But yes, the giant Bergman set of all of his entire filmography, over 42 films, type of thing.
It's like I said, if you're Ingmar Bergman, Akira Kurosawa, or if you get paid money by the Wes Anderson guy, that's who you get in the Criterion Collection.
Or, you know, they also have quite a few Bong Joon-ho films. Thank you very much, as you can't see that. You know, among other things. Now, granted, Park Chan-wook, is that his name?
Park Chan-wook, yeah.
Thank you. You know, that... I'm putting stuff back on the shelf because I don't have room for it on my desk. That is who Arrow puts their stuff behind, is him, because obviously they did the they released JSA, which I have over there. If you want the Vengeance trilogy, you have to get the UK import of that, including the 4K. And only 4Ks are region free, minus 4 4Ks in the entire world. One of them is the Weathering with You Collector's Edition set from Shout Factory. I don't know why that's region locked, but it's region locked. Normally 4Ks aren't region locked, which is why I recommend people buy 4K editions, because 4K movies can still be watched on a 1080p TV. You just have to have a 4K player, and if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or an Xbox One S or X, you have a 4K Blu-ray player. So it's sort of future-proofing yourself, and it's funny that we're having this debate about Criterion versus Arrow, because very much Arrow is sort of the UK's answer to Criterion, because there's a lot of stuff that they both have, but a lot of it is exclusive to the UK, because one of the directors that they keep exclusively in the UK is David Cronenberg's library, because you can get Crash, you can get Videodrome, you can get his early works. Granted, they released their early works as a trilogy set on the Blu-ray, whereas Criterion threw them in with other releases, plus you can get Naked Lunch and so on and so forth. But again, it's always comes down to the special features, because it's like, okay, these are great, but you're missing, like, it's like, but I don't get the commentary tracks that I want, which Criterion has. And granted, one of the things that everybody complains about Criterion with is the fact that when they do a 4K re-release of something that's already in the collection, or a re-release of a Blu-ray or what have you for something that was in the previous Laserdisc line, because they've been slowly starting to trickle stuff out from the Laserdisc line and putting them into the new collection, because they don't release those films under their original numbers. It's the same special features from either that Laserdisc or from the previous Blu-ray or even DVD release. And a lot of people hate that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but they got a commentary with the guy who fucking made the film, instead of some random, you want to talk about, oh, the pompousness of filmmaking, then some random jackass who's a film historian. Nothing against film historians, but it's like, okay. And I mean, yeah, some films, you know, people pass away, but David Cronenberg is still very much alive. Very much alive, to the point where he has a film coming out soon. And just had a film 2 years ago. And so it's like, and you know, sometimes the directors themselves will do these restorations that Astrid mentioned. And a lot of the times also companies will share those restorations as well. Speaking of Dario Argento earlier, there are a few films that Arrow does not release over here, when it comes to Dario Argento, but they work with another company. I think it's Synapsis. I think they have the rights to Tenebrae. They have the U.S. rights, aka the Region 1 rights to Tenebrae. They have Phenomena and Suspiria, and so they'll work with Arrow Video to make this new 4K release or what have you. And it's like, okay, so they're all kind of working together. I think even Criterion and Arrow have worked on a few things together. I think some of the Cronenberg 4K stuff was worked between the two. And also, they're missing a certain somebody in the Arrow department because you see, the only film they have of David Lynch is Dune. You want to talk about being a sellout and having this and that?
You're
Why
gonna
the
call
fuck
having
does-
Dune being a sellout? It's the movie that David Lynch doesn't want to talk about. And they're like, don't worry, we got you, fam. We'll put that one out there. And Criterion Collection head I'm talking to. That's all.
On that note, I think it's time.
Okay, let's go.
What is your favorite movie in the Criterion Collection? I'm going to start with Abby.
Well, everybody already knows that it's Houseu. If you've not seen the trailer for Houseu, my God, you should, because it is wacky fun, absolute wacky fun. I highly recommend it. I will send Big the trailer because I don't think Big has ever seen it. Probably can't show the stream, because you know, copyright. I don't know the rules on this shit. But yeah, Houseu would be mine. 1977 Japanese horror film that was supposed to be the saving grace. It was supposed to be their version of Jaws. For those that don't know what that means, Jaws is considered the first blockbuster film release. So it was supposed to be that. Very quickly greenlit by Toei. Took 2 years to come out because they wanted one of their directors to do it. But none of the directors wanted to touch it. So the creator of Houseu was plotting for 2 years, and unfortunately, it bombed like hell. But it became a cult classic. And then when Criterion got the rights to release it here, university campuses and all these independent theaters wanted it so badly that they made it Spine 540. Because originally they were going to release it under the Eclipse line, but it was like it just became so popular that they made it an actual Spine number.
Incredible. Astrid, what is your favorite movie in the Criterion Collection?
Before I say, I want to point out that Houseu is one of the most interesting films that is in the Criterion Collection because when you watch it, you're just like, oh, this is definitely something that belongs in Arrow Video. That's all I'm saying. It just has that kind of vibe to it, you know?
Fun fact, it actually does exist outside of Criterion because Eureka Video has it, though for some reason
True.
they changed it to a 16:9 aspect ratio.
So what I'm hearing is that you two are shaking hands over Houseu?
No. I just wanted to point something out to Abby there.
Okay. If not Houseu, then what is your favorite movie in the Criterion Collection?
Eraserhead.
Why?
By David Lynch.
Eraserhead's very good.
Eraserhead is probably my favorite David Lynch film, and I think that it is one of the most important moments in surreal horror filmmaking, and the restoration that Criterion did on it was fantastic.
All right.
Oh yeah, it also includes like 6 of his short films. And
Oh, I know. I have it.
it's so good. So good.
I'm turning it back on you, Abby. What is your
Okay.
favorite movie in the Arrow video collection?
Ooh, stairs at the arrow shelf. Um, I don't. Do I want to go with that?
So
Or
help
do
me,
I
if you
wanna-
say Freddy Got Fingered, I'm gonna turn off
Listen, it's an important it's an important Canadian film.
It's not in air. It's not in. It's not. You can.
True. You have to answer
You,
that. The second favorite in the
It-
Criterion Collection. That's what Abby would have said.
it doesn't exist on Blu-ray, so there you go.
Don't dodge
How
the
much do you
question.
wanna-
What's your favorite
I'm
Arrow
not dodging
video?
them.
How much do you want to bet that one person who owns Criterion now is just like, no, I want to pay you money to restore Freddy Got Fingered into 4K HD.
It's a tough one because I'm trying to really think. Because again, one thing that Arrow really has is they kind of fell in love with Miko Kaju, who is I probably mispronounced her last name, but she is a '70s action star, to put it bluntly, like Female Prisoner Scorpion, Lady Snowblood, and the Stray Cat Rock series. And I'm trying to like be like, do I choose Audition? Do I choose one of those? Do I choose Vampire Doll? Because Vampire Doll is a very interesting take on vampires. So I'm having a really tough time deciding between those. And I kind of want to lean into Audition.
A classic.
Great choice.
Yes.
Astrid,
Be
same
nice if they
question to
released a
you.
4K.
What's your favorite Arrow video?
I think because I mean, I love their collection so much, and it would depend on the mood that I'm in, but one that I have been feeling lately. Oh, I'm also looking through my Arrow video stuff.
Now, if I had a copy of um, um, Battle Royale, I probably would have said Battle Royale, but I don't have that because that was one of the UK exclusive ones. And unless you got the 4K, you can't watch it unless you have a Region B Blu-ray player.
I have that one.
I think it's actually Pitch Black.
Wait,
Interesting.
go on.
Pitch Black. The film that was originally intended to be Alien 3, but instead they opted out of using the screenplay for that and decided that it should be its own little thing. So they got Vin Diesel and created Pitch Black and created the iconic character of Riddick. I really love it because honestly, and I don't hate on Alien 3 as a lot of people do, but I do like Pitch Black a lot better. It is one of my favorite like sci-fi horror films that exist. It's kind of iconic too. But if it's okay to choose a second, I think I was between that and An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, interesting.
Good choices. Good choices. What is, of your chosen distributor, the thing that surprises you the most?
As far as a movie that's on there?
Yes.
Or okay.
Well, that's a good question. Because one of the things that I particularly love about Arrow Video is that they seem to grab from all sorts of different places and from different eras and different styles of filmmaking. And they grab stuff that is seemingly minor to things that were huge. And I really appreciate the hell out of them for that. So, as far as surprises go, I think it would be something that's like already renowned and popular and big and like already something that people would expect. So, even though it's technically not arrived yet, I want to probably mention I'm really surprised that they're getting Silence of the Lambs because, as Abby mentioned, Criterion already has that. And it's not like Silence of the Lambs is going to go out of print anytime soon anywhere, but it's really cool to see that Arrow is getting it too, and that you know, I've heard that the restoration that Arrow is going to do is going to be like really fucking good too. So I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. I was honestly surprised that I got it too, because Kino just got it, what, 3-4 months ago themselves? I think. But I don't remember. I'm guessing it's my turn for
It
the
is. What
distributor.
about yours?
Okay. Hmm. 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 That's a. Because I could easily go for the easy target and be like, what the fuck is this doing here? But I think the most surprising, I think the generally shocking thing that actually was newsworthy at the time was Wally. Wow. Hitting the collection because, again, it kind of came out of left field. It was announced after their usual announcement period. For those that don't know, every distributor, well, I can't say every distributor, but at least these two have a specific announcement date every month for X months release. So Criterion does it every around the 15th of the month, and Arrow does it the last Friday of every month. But this came out of left field, and everybody was like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Are they sellouts? What does this mean? Yada, yada, yada. And everyone was completely shocked because nobody knew what was going on. It's like, why is this Pixar Disney film coming there? Because Disney don't like anybody. Disney fucking hates everybody. And won't work with anybody for film restoration, and will hide behind the Disney Movie Club for their older shit like Herbie and 20 Leagues Under the Sea and a lot of the live action stuff from the 50s and the 60s and presumably the 40s. You can't get Disney Movie Club here in Canada anymore. They killed it. I was a member of that for a while. But they were like, what does this mean? Does this also mean that they're going to get fettered access to the Fox lineup and things like that? And despite the fact that, I don't want to grab it from my shelf, so I'm trying to find it in the list. I believe it's in the 1100s. you know, there was all this speculation like, are we screwed? Are they still going to be doing the art house films? Are we still getting films from the 70s, or is this now going to be Disney only? Fuck you. Or is this just going to be mainstream films? Fuck you. But surprisingly, because I do own Wall-E, there's a lot of care and love in this edition. For one, it's an actual 4K master, whereas if you bought the Disney version, you're just getting a 2K master upscaled to 4K. There's documentaries on the film. Stanton takes you on a tour of the studio. You get the influences to audio commentary track. Like, they put a lot of love in here, so it wasn't, hey, yeah, you can put the film here, but fuck you. No, they like went all out for this, and it was great, including the short film Bernie. That's, you know, Wall-E, but instead it's Burn-E, kind of thing, as well as a student film from Stanton from 1987. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, you can have them, but you can't do, like, they went and they put the usual Criterion love into a film, provided it wasn't a re-release of something already in the collection.
I'm surprised that that was the one that surprised you.
I mean, yeah, because it came out of left field, and as I explained, like, everyone was like, what does this mean? Are we screwed? Is it now becoming a this or a that?
I think this just proves my point.
What do you mean it proves your point?
I think it proves my point that like you look at it's like, oh, what is this exceptional movie coming in from Disney doing here? I was expecting Armageddon and The Rock, of course. Those belong in the Criterion collection. Absolutely.
If you remember,
didn't surprise me at all.
If you remember how I opened that statement saying I'm not going for the easy target.
Yeah.
Because that was my opening statement. I'm not going for the easy target.
What it read to me was that you're used to things like The Rock and Armageddon going in. So you're just like, I would have thought that you'd be like, oh, well, Wall-E, it just naturally follows suit at this point. Toy Story 4, it's going to be in the Criterion collection soon. You watch.
Also,
it's gonna be a treasured film that needs desperate need for restoration.
I can't wait for Cars 2 to be in the Criterion collection.
Yes.
As I also said earlier, it's like, I mean, they're not in print anymore. You can't get Armageddon. You can't get The Rock. And also, if you remember, like, again, what is the plot of Armageddon? Bruce Willis, an all-star cast of roughneck oil drillers, blast off on a mission to save the planet. So they were going for we gotta save this. So at the time, because it came out in 1998, blah, 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 because sometimes Criterion does that stupid shit. So again, it was easy targets. Let's go for the thing that nobody expected. I mean, again, RoboCop is in the collection, but Arrow's got a hold of that.
Yeah.
For blue, but it's not in print anymore. Life of Brian's not in print anymore. Dead Ringers is not in print anymore, which is very sad. But if you want Dead Ringers, you have to go with the Shout Factories, because they have it. Very nice release, by the way, but that's besides the point. You know, shit goes out of print. People make mistakes. I mean, This Is Spinal Tap is in the fucking collection. Why? Why do they have Beastie Boys music videos in the collection? Because that's also in the collection, I might add. It's just 18 music videos.
Abby, it's so... I don't understand. Why do I just ask questions about the Criterion collection? You just go, you're right, Astra, they are bad. They are bad.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're making mistakes.
Speaking
Because Arrow
of
also makes mistakes.
the Beastie Boys music collection, I mentioned that I had several things that I wanted to ask you about. So let's talk about it. How do we
Okay.
feel that the Beastie Boys music video collection is a Criterion release?
I mean, I thought it was weird and was like, why is this here? I get like their music videos are incredible, but I'm like, it's music videos. Again, I want to point out that, again, I don't agree with everything that's in the collection, but I also don't like everything in any collection because I'm not that person that's just going to collect everything because I'm like, number one, I don't give a shit about the original Blob. I don't.
Your takes. Oh my god.
That is a bold take, gamer.
Oh my god.
Bold.
I'm getting obliterated. First, you came for Alfred Hitchcock being like the worst part of everything. I hate everything Hitchcock has done. The worst director. And I was like, Abby, this is like one of the things you should be proud of that is in the Criterion collection. What are you doing? I can't believe it.
Most epic self-owns in rap battle history.
It's incredible.
It's so epic, it should be added to our Beastie Boys music video anthology!
Like, I mean, not everything's gonna be for me. Okay? Hitchcock, I didn't like any of his films, and I had to watch them in school, and I fucking hated every minute of it. At the same time, I'm like, where the fuck's, like, I can be like, where's the Edgar Wright stuff for either collection? Because he's such a big, I don't know if you've ever seen his film pictures, and his wall is just like a giant library of like 20,000 films. He doesn't get any love from either company, and it's like, why?
He will when stuff starts going out of print. You don't know.
I mean, true, but also I feel like some of his stuff has gone out of print. I feel, but it's like, eh.
I'll bring us back on topic. What about the Beastie Boys?
Yeah, as our local preservationist, Astrid, how do you feel about the Beastie Boys having their music videos preserved in one of the most prestigious catalogs?
I think it's good. I think it's fine. What I'm confused about is just sort of like, as far as the preservation of music videos, I think it goes down the line of like, normally I'd go, wow, this ambitious, altruistic, wonderful film collection, this company, this studio, this group of individuals, they want to restore music videos. But can I really expect them to go and be here for all of them? Does it stop here? And if it does, why does it stop here? This is a strange it's not only a strange place to start, it's an interesting place to kind of signal that we're not going to do too much of this.
A bold assessment.
Here's the other thing that we have to remember. They don't own the films that are here. They are getting them from licenses, so they have to get a license agreement. And again, certain other things might have an agreement from 10 years ago that isn't up yet, or something like that. That goes for everybody. Hence why Arrow only has the Cronenberg stuff in the UK, because licensing agreements are a mess. And the reason why we probably don't have another music anthology is because you might know this little platform called YouTube, which has every fucking music artist on it, and you can pretty much find every one of their music videos on it. And so they might be like, why the fuck would we release a DVD of this when we have YouTube? Because unfortunately, and as shitty as this sounds, movie studios, etc., they don't give a shit. Why do you think Disney Plus exists? You think they fucking care about fucking blah blah blah? No, they're like, how can I make money? Is me just hoarding this in a vault better for me making money than allowing so and so to do this? Oh, it is? Then I'm going to do that. Or if they want to erase their history because they made weird shit during the 1940s and also late 30s, or so on and so forth. And so they're like, no, we're gonna keep this in the vault. It's the same thing. Why hasn't Disney fucking hired somebody to release the original cut of Star Wars? Why was 1995 the last time we got the original cut of Star Wars?
Why are we deflecting to Disney?
I just want to remind myself of the wise words of Sun Tzu at this point. I'm not going to interrupt my opponent while she's making a mistake.
How am I making a mistake? How is anything I've said wrong?
I don't need to go into
is
that.
All right.
How is it that movie studios being greedy sons of bitches and not actually caring about film preservation and these things? How is that going against me? We all know that these people have to purchase a license to be able to release whatever they release, be it
the only hint I will give you, Abby, is
Scorpion and so on.
It's not what you are saying. It's what you are leaving out, and you're doing a lot of damage to the Criterion Collection by doing this. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I see.
Okay, speaking of speculative releases that are known for musical soundtracks, Astrid, I'm putting you in the hot seat because we are officially going to discuss Flash Gordon. How do we feel about Flash Gordon being part of your chosen collection? Flash
Gordon, which it's an awesome collection that they have for Flash Gordon. It's, I think, an important sort of landmark of the things that Arrow tries to do in their collection, which is be inclusive of things that are incredibly influential to some of the most important creators, and something that means a lot to a lot of filmmakers as well. Flash Gordon is very much responsible for a lot of science fiction storytelling, having inspired the likes of George Lucas as well in its original storytelling format. But Flash Gordon, you know what else is on here too is The Last Starfighter, which is very like underlooked, especially compared to Flash Gordon. I think that this is a really good take, a really good pick that they have. And I think that their Flash Gordon set rules.
It's not actually a set, it's only the movie.
I know it's only the movie. I'm talking about the set as in everything that comes with it, not just the disc.
Okay, I'm just letting people know that it's the movie because this is not the movie. I believe this is the studio canal on the screen of their entire set. Like, that's the series as well, I think.
Listen, I'm
just letting people know that it's the movie. Okay, I'm just letting people know before.
How do you feel about Flash Gordon, Abby?
I'm not gonna lie, and I know I'm doing a great disservice and disrespect. I've never seen Flash Gordon.
Wow.
So if y'all in the chat want to come over to my side, we got you. It's pretty nice over here. I'm just saying.
Okay, okay. Lightning round. Abby,
Okay.
we're gonna defend good
Yes.
movies now, okay?
Okay. Okay.
In the Criterion Collection is one, Night of the Living Dead by George Romero. Discuss.
Yes. Oh my god, this film is incredible. They just released a 4K of it last year. 2 out of the 3 of the trilogy are released in 4K. Certain other company, get on it, but it's not in Arrow and it's not in Criterion, the third one. The second one is done by UK distributor Second Sight. So there's that. So Night of the Living Dead. It looks like a film from the 50s when it was actually made in the late 60s. And it's like, holy shit, you would never guess if you've seen this film that it was done in the late 60s. And it is so well done that it captures that universal monster era, and it's fabulous. It is a very, very good film. I believe the special features kind of go into like what Tom Savini did for some of the special effects, like because it's also a very low budget film, which makes it even more impressive how they were able to get the things that they were able to get off. Because again, George Romero kind of operates on a very shoestring budget because he was very independent for most of his career. And again, if you have not seen this movie, highly recommend because you will not be disappointed. And remember, they're coming for you, Barbara.
Can I say something about Night of the Living Dead real quick?
Absolutely.
Sure.
You are in the hot seat, Astrid.
Okay, so it is very true. I also have this one from the Criterion Collection. Criterion actually went directly to the master film and restored it directly from that to put it into 4K, which I am eternally grateful for. Insane that they went and did that and took so much attention to detail to do that. What I also want to say is when it comes to the relationship between Tom Savini and George Romero, there was a 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead, which is vastly underrated. And if you have not seen it, I recommend doing it. It is a direct interpretation of the original film. The screenplay is almost exactly the same. It's pretty damn close to one, with just the ending being different. And Tom Savini, of course, it's 1990. The zombies are gnarlier. And also, they change Barbara, her character, from being a helpless woman who is sitting on the couch the whole movie in hysterics into badass lesbian with a gun who takes charge. And I just wanted to throw that out there. It's incredible.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Yes. Happy Pride Month.
Also, oh wait, no, I don't want to spoil. So I don't want to mention what happens at the end of the original. I want to do it. So I'm not going to do that. Speaking of Pride Month for a second, Criterion has some excellent LGBTQ movies in it, such as Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Girlfriends. I mentioned John Waters earlier. They have at least 4 of his films in there. Hey Arrow, where's your LGBTQ films?
Arrow.
Abby, you said yourself that you don't know exploitation films, so don't go there. I will go there.
I would argue that Arrow has one of the most important pieces of queer culture to ever exist. And for this, I'm going to put Astrid in the hot seat again because we're going to talk
Let's
about
go.
Lifeline.
Oh. Yeah.
Weren't expecting that one, were you?
I was not, but yeah, I mean, I think I do. I don't have Arrow's release of it, which bums me out.
Life Force,
but
not Lifeline.
Life Force,
Life
yes.
Force, yes.
Who is in this one? There's like a really famous British actor that's in it. It's over there somewhere. Anywho,
Life Force is
yes.
an Arrow video. That's Shout Factory.
What?
Then why am I
No,
looking at
that's
a
not
Blu-ray
true.
that has the Arrow logo on it, Abby?
Oh, because it's from 2013, whereas the Shout Factory is from 2 years ago. That's why.
Goodness.
Wow.
Abby trying to sabotage the entire conversation.
Wow.
Life Force is I had this in I used to buy double feature movies all the time because there was an instance of film releases around the early 2010s where studios and companies would try to release things that like they didn't think it would sell, so they put them in like a set with other things. And because of that, this was on a release that I had with both Alien and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Incredible.
Yeah. I love that copy that I have, which again, it's over there somewhere. It is really interesting because everyone thinks Alien, you know, everyone knows Alien is one of the top tier greatest horror movies. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is more like a cult classic, but a lot of people know the title. Few people have seen the movie in comparison with Alien. And then Life Force, which is like even more of like a cult classic. And that is what I talk about with Arrow Video. They're here for it. They're here for the cult classics. They're here for the underground. And my gay space vampires deserve to be heard. That's all I have to say.
It should be noted that if you wish to get this film in this day and age, you have to go through Shout Factory because Arrow Video no longer has the rights to it, even in the UK, which is what they had the rights to because Shout Factory had that for Region 1.
Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel about Life Force, Abby.
I haven't seen it yet.
Wow.
Being like, you know, I think that Criterion has all the gay movies. It's just like, yeah, absolutely. There's certainly no gay movies in Arrow. Wow.
Wow.
Again, I say this again. Just because John Waters is over there does not mean that you have any sort of leeway in the, oh, who's involved in the exploitation conversation? That's nothing. Again, that is saying, like, I love anime. I've watched Bleach. I watched Pokemon when I grew up. I watched Dragon Ball Z. Like,
why are you picking on Bleach?
Abby, go over there. Go over there. Get out of the exploitation conversation. I'm saving you. I'm rescuing you from a conversation that you do not have a foot in the door with. I got you.
Gamers,
Have you, Abby?
I have a very important question from chat. It says, what is your favorite John Carpenter movie, regardless of collection?
Oh.
My favorite John Carpenter movie in general?
Yes.
The Thing. Although They Live is pretty up there, but The Thing. Yeah, I'd have to go with The Thing on that one.
I am torn between 3 different movies. And The Thing is one of them, but Abby said it, so I will not say it. All right, I'm gonna go Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay. Okay, acceptable. Acceptable.
We've got some
I
crowd
like it.
suggestions. In the Mouth of Madness
Great movie.
I have it over on my shelf. Yep.
and
I also have
That's
it.
John Carpenter's Insert Word.
Halloween was in the Criterion Collection back on Laserdisc. It is now, of course, Shout Factory. Shout Factory pretty much has John Carpenter locked down
Yeah.
at this point. You can get all of their pretty much all of his films, including Memoirs of the Invisible Man, if you want to see a very, very, very bad Chevy Chase movie. Is in Shout Factory. Yeah.
Earlier in the conversation, a comparison to Hot Topic was made, and nobody addressed whether this was a positive or negative thing. Chat has asked you to clarify.
Personally, if I am to understand Abby's comparison with Hot Topic, I'll tell you how I understand it and not actually go into the criticism of like Hot Topic as a business itself. But Hot Topic is known as basically a place where the urban goths go and they get their kind of like they're not made by the first party versions of a bunch of things associated with goth culture. So for instance, you could buy there I don't know, like a Slayer t-shirt, but it won't be like official Slayer merchandise. It'll be something that says Slayer on it and has the aesthetic because they worked with like the label to secure something that they could recreate that isn't a part of their official merch line or something. But frankly, as I see it, I don't have a problem with Hot Topic when they're just like, yeah, it's a place that's in a mall and I can get some goth shit that's reasonably priced and not overpriced. But is that what you intended to say, Abby, with your contrast or comparison?
I mean, some people have a really big problem with Hot Topic. I don't have a problem with Hot Topic, but that is the comparison with Zavi, is that it's the UK's Hot Topic. But if you like Hot Topic, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I like Hot Topic. I go there from time to time. Actually, I haven't been there in a couple of years because their t-shirts are not worth the asking price because they want $35 fucking for a t-shirt.
Oh, bestie, you gotta learn to go when they have the $1 sale.
True.
Yeah, we don't get those in Canada.
Unfortunate.
All the fancy sales that you see, like that get announced on the website and shit, those don't come here.
Damn.
The best we get is the pop figures sales. That's about it.
See, you have been hurt by Arrow and you've been hurt by Hot Topic, and this is why you have such animosity towards these things. I understand. I understand.
I mean, I'm not hurt by Arrow. I like Arrow quite a bit. Like I said, I've got an Arrow shelf sitting right there, but I also have a... Now, if you want to talk about a company that I can't stand, let's talk about Vinegar Syndrome. Ha 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 ha.
Gamers, I have a very important question for you.
Oui, madame.
As people who appreciate the other person's collection, what would you add to it if you were a person with the ability to do so? So, Astrid, what would you add to Criterion? Abby, what would you add to Arrow?
I would... I think fitting of Criterion's desire to add things that should be restored and should be maintained, and also as a way to kind of say, hey, no, I promise we care about one of the most important filmmakers of Japan who is not Akira Kurosawa. Here's a whole bunch of things by Takashi Miike. I think that the fact that like both sides, to be honest, with both Arrow and Criterion, are severely lacking in Miike's things. Like, there's some on both sides, but like there's a lot of really great classics from him that are like extremely hard to get. I would love to see Criterion actually get Takashi Miike films.
Hashtag put Like a Dragon, based on the hit video game Yakuza, in the collections.
They should.
That's right. Takashi Miike directed the Yakuza movie, and it's fabulous. I watched it the other day, and so good, so good.
What would you add, Abby?
Now, Astra now, is this putting shit that they have in? Is this anything, or is this you put something that's in that person's collection into their library?
So you are in the position of someone who works at that company, adding it to the collection. If you could add one thing, what would you add?
I should ask you, Big Scared, also, like, because I kind of just said the works of this director. Do you want me to be more specific than that?
I mean, if you want to be.
Then I'll be here a while having to choose one film by Takashi
Miike. I mean, I would be like, throw Battle Royale in there, because that is not, like, I don't even know who has the rights to that film, but the Western or the Region 1 release is, I think, like 20 years old or like, not quite 20 years old, but like 15 years old at this point, or
Anchor
something.
Bay.
I would say. Oh, Anchor Bay, of course. You throw that in there, I would say would be a big plus. As impossible as it would be, throw in, because they just, like, if you could throw in Evil Dead 19, like the original Evil Dead, if you could, but I mean, they just released a set for that, and I mean, it's really good. So it's not really necessarily needed. Also, Astrid, I have to have one giant complaint. You keep bringing up Kurosawa, but you know that there's more than just Kurosawa in the collection. You've got Ozu, you've got Suzuki, you've got, again, there's more Japanese directors than Kurosawa. You, like, come on.
Please, Abby. I want you to tell me about, just earlier we were discussing the many films that you appreciate from all these different like countries, which is awesome. But you mentioned these Japanese film directors. I was just curious, is there something that, like, I don't know, like maybe
Are you trying to call me a weeb?
Yes, I am calling you a weeb. That's all.
Considering I've been trying to get to that country since I was like 15, but that's neither here nor there. Congratulations, everybody. I'm a fucking weeb. Are you going to show up with a shotgun to my house now? Because that's how you all act. It's like, oh no, she's a weeb. We must murder her in cold blood. Yet none of you do. So I'm like, what the fuck is the point of bringing this up? I'm fucking sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if y'all want to come over to my side, it's pretty good. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I have a question for you both. Based off of a comment in chat, how do you feel about Mothra? I feel like we must know.
Mothra's great. I kind of wish she was in a collection that wasn't what is it, Millbrook's? Because Millbrook's films are few and far between. You know, I kind of wish that they would also release the Mothra trilogy on something, because that would also be nice instead of just the first Mothra film. Because unfortunately, the first Mothra film is the only thing. So, yeah. Astrid, would you like to let the people know what you think of the kaiju known as Mothra?
Yeah, how do you feel about Mothra?
I like Mothra.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
On a more serious note, if you were in a decision-making position at your chosen distributor, what movie would you have put your foot down and made sure never got released?
That's
Okay.
in our
That
collections
is
already,
in
or
the collection and or has been in the collection.
okay.
If you had the power to gatekeep, which one would you gatekeep?
Okay. I'm quickly going through because I know
need
that there's
you
one.
to gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss all over these lists.
Fucking Michael Bay shit, number one. I mean, that one's pretty easy. That one, I mean, come on. Michael fucking Bay, get the fuck out. Don't you know?
If you had to pick one, though.
Oh, I've never seen them, so I don't know which one is worse, but I know that Aerosmith made a song that pisses me off for
let me
one of
get
them,
this
so I'm
straight.
going for that one.
Let me get this straight. I'm putting you in the hot seat for this, Abby, because you just expressed a very bold take. You decided that you would yeet an entire director's filmography without ever experiencing their work. Someone who is vastly popular with the masses, known for blockbuster films, and extremely prolific. Why? And who
All
hurt
I've
you?
ever heard is Michael Bay shit. I've never seen a Michael Bay movie. I never saw Transformers. I never saw Transformers 2. All I've ever heard of is all his films are shit. I've never heard somebody go, man, I really liked X Michael Bay film. All I've heard is that he's dog shit, and apparently he's a dog shit human as well, is what I've heard. So yeah, that is why I would kick him out, because all I've heard is that he makes dog shit films that make a lot of money, which good for him, I guess. Your films suck though, from what I'm told or heard. So
And yet, Armageddon and The Rock are both in the Criterion Collection.
oh wait,
And
no, I've seen Bad Boys 1.
I will
yes.
say, unironically and unapologetically, The Rock is one of my favorite movies.
Okay, and you've been sitting here listening to Astrid shit on the fact that it's there, and yet you have not come to its defense. But now that I say fuck Michael Bay,
Can I make it? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I think The Rock is like probably Michael Bay's best movie, and I don't like it that much. But what I'm shocked about is not why is this garbage in the Criterion? It is why is it in the Criterion? Which that's my question.
I don't know. Do I look like I work for them? They only have 40 employees. They're all in fucking New York. Do I look like I live in New York here? Do I look like I go and fucking fight people on the street about a fucking hot dog?
Well, Abby,
Sorry, I know nothing about New
here's
York.
the reason why I'm grilling you about it in the hot seat and not Astrid. I know for a fact Astrid has at least watched the movie.
True.
Okay. like, again, if we're talking about a movie that I've watched that's in the collection, if that's the criteria here, fuck,
You keep going, Abby. I'm having a very hard time thinking what I would not want to be in Arrow.
because if it's the rule that I have to have seen it, then fuck, what have I seen in the collection that I would be like, get the hell out of here?
This just in: Abby doesn't watch the Criterion Collection.
Not the entire thing, no, but I also mentioned that I don't collect every film in the collection.
Just the weeb ones. I understand.
Not even the
It's-
weak ones. Like, again, so, like, because
Just Freddy got fingered. Thank you, chat.
it's not in the collection. It's on their streaming service, which is not a part of their collection. It's just shit they have on the streaming service, which does not exist on the streaming service anymore. So that doesn't even count. You wanted stuff that is in the collection. Freddy Got Fingered, not in the collection. Clock Watchers, not in the collection. Should be, but it's not.
I thought you were gonna. Can I say what I would take out of the Criterion Collection if I couldn't
Yes.
choose Armageddon? If I couldn't choose Armageddon, I would take out Chasing Amy.
I would also remove Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
And I say that as a recovering Kevin Smith fan.
See, I haven't seen Chasing Amy yet, so I can't pick that. I was going through the trilogy, and I've only watched the first 2 movies in that trilogy. And Chasing Amy is not watched yet. So I can't even pick that because I haven't seen it yet, because the rule is I have to have seen it.
It is,
As
first
I
of all, Happy
keep
Pride
looking.
Month. Second of all, Chasing Amy is Kevin Smith's attempt at a Pride story, I guess. And it aged...
Poorly?
I'm not going to put an adjective behind that. I'm just going to say aged in an upward tone. It is a clear window into the year that it was made, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, 1997. Because I could be like Chasing Amy. I could be like something from Michael Bay because I don't like Michael Bay, but I could also choose The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. But I haven't seen that yet. By the way, that is in the Criterion Collection. It just doesn't have
It is. That movie is really, really good, and you should see it. But it is another one that I'm like, why is it in the collection? Just because I don't think it's under threat of like disappearing. It's kind of a masterpiece.
I don't even think it's available to purchase anywhere because it was just released also in a standard Blu-ray case, which was also very odd because it's the only Criterion movie that is released in a standard case. Which was odd.
They have nothing to say, I guess.
I guess.
So we've discovered that Abby only gatekeeps movies that she would not personally watch.
To be
Incredible.
fair, it's about having the time to watch the movies, and also there are a lot of movies that I've seen, just not a lot in the collection, especially if I don't own them.
All right. Astrid, I'm putting you in the hot
Yes.
seat. You've had
Okay.
time to think about it.
All right.
What are you axing from Arrow?
Because I want to preface by just saying that honestly, Arrow Video, I've seen probably 80% of what they have in there, and I'm pretty chill with everything. And because of that, I'm just going to go with a movie that I have seen that I don't particularly like all that much. And I think is kind of ridiculous that they put it onto Arrow in general, which is Horror Express. And
Interesting choice.
it is a film with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and
Vincent Price.
is Vincent Price in that movie?
Pretty sure he is. Also, I found my movie as well. I might be thinking of a different movie as well, but I'm pretty sure he's in that. I might be. No, he is not. I am thinking of a different movie that they made in the 80s.
Horror Express is, by the way, it's in the public domain, and you can watch it whenever you want, but like it's also just kind of like a ridiculous movie. And it kind of like stands out as like this, oh, I'm so excited, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, because they have history together. They did a lot of the Hammer horror films. Most impressively their Dracula film that they did together. And so you're like, oh hell yeah, let's watch this one. And it's like just not great. But it is funny. It is unintentionally funny. So there is that going on for it. But I don't want to just full on send it and like say, oh yeah, get this trash out of it. It's more like Big Scared has a gun to my head and says, you have to get rid of something. And I go, ah, Horror Express.
Choose one of your favorites. One's gotta go.
Yes, I found mine as well.
You're back in the hot seat. What is it?
Bowling for Columbine.
Oh. Why?
Michael Moore?
Yes, Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine. I don't know. Again, if I have to pick one that I've seen, I'm like, that one's probably the weakest one out of what I've seen, because I'm like, okay, I get the point, I get what we're trying to do, but it's just like, does it really need to have a Criterion edition? I mean,
I have something to say about Bowling for Columbine.
Go off.
Yes.
I think that it's the first serious documentary that someone made to try to tackle the ideas of school shootings and stuff. And I think that it is an important movie, but I would agree that it is a little strange for the inclusion of Criterion, even though it is an important film that is more than likely going to disappear at some point. It is good, though, and I do think that it should be restored. However, let me tell you my favorite part of that movie, which is this guy talking about home defense, and Michael Moore is grilling him on how it's going to keep someone out, and he's just like, as you can see, no one can get through this because the door is, it can't be kicked down. And Michael Moore's like, okay, well, what if I had a gun? The guy's like, all right, well, this part's bulletproof here. He's like, okay, so what if I had welding equipment, could I get through? I was like, well, yeah, you could get through with welding equipment, but you still need to have something to like pry it off, and there's no way to get in. And Michael Moore goes, okay, what if I had a spear? And at that point, I'm always thinking, Michael Moore is going to show up to someone's house to break in, fully armed and equipped to the teeth to try to get in there. And there will be nothing you can do to stop him because he's talked to this dude who has thought about this on how to stop Michael Moore from getting into his house. Yeah. It's my favorite part of the movie.
We've accidentally trained him to be the most efficient burglar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is the weirdest one that I've seen. That it's just like, yeah, I get it, but it's like, it's like, I don't know if it needs like a Criterion release. Also, speaking of public domain, the original Night of the Living Dead is also public domain.
It's always been public domain. Fun fact about it.
Okay, gamers, I have one
It's-
last question for you. And then you will
Go
be able
on.
to grill each other freely. What is one thing that you wish more people knew about your collection of choice?
Do you have an answer, Abby? Because I have one if you don't.
Go first.
I think that in one of my Abby mentioned it in Abby's opening argument, which is that there was at one point in the 1970s the Wild West of films. You could make whatever you wanted as long as you had the equipment to do it, and you could try to get it a somewhat limited theatrical release as well. And in that was the rise of very interesting film movements that have inspired other film movements that exist today, but the originals have definitely petered and died out and are hardly recognizable anymore, either don't exist or are so far underground that you have to like show up at a convention specifically for this and talk to the director who's sitting behind a booth selling their movies in little paper like DVD folders to collect. And those film movements, especially in exploitation, blaxploitation, and other things that were happening in that wild west of film of the 1970s, is showcased and featured so greatly, so proudly in Arrow Video. And I bring that up because they are overlooked by so many people. And I'm not going to lie and say that it's easy to get into these things and they're easy to stomach or anything like that. They're not. They're very abrasive. And it can be hard to see a lot of the quality that was and the vision and the ideas that were put into these things. But honestly, these films were very impactful and meaningful, and I do love them. And it's one of the reasons that I constantly go to Arrow to see what they're going to be coming out with, because they have things that I forgot existed, and the world was like wanting to move on from and say we've moved on from this era of filmmaking. And Arrow's over here like, listen, you know that you want to watch a movie called Shogun Sadism. And I'm like, God, I do. I really do.
That movie
And
was excellent.
an endorsement from Abby.
As was the prequel to that film, Origins of Edo.
Yes. Also good. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Arrow.
All right, Abby, same question for you. What do you wish more people knew about Criterion?
What do I wish people knew about Criterion? Cause well, okay. I wish people didn't think of it as the snobby aristocrat, like, film company, right? Like, it wasn't the, you are a shinem snob, you are of the upper class. When it's like, nah, man, I just like movies. Like, you know, and if it wasn't for Criterion, we wouldn't have certain films. Like, I don't know if anybody and I kind of wish Emma was here because we talk about them a lot. There's a YouTube channel. They're called Red Letter Media. They review movies, and oftentimes they've talked about a movie, such as True Stories, and sometimes after they've talked about something, Criterion's like, oh, here you go, and so they give us like stuff like True Stories, and things like that. Again, it's not 1,000% schnobby films. I don't know too many schnobby films. Like, they do a lot of the stuff from the golden age of Hollywood, and again, we do have the
Abby.
silent films. What have I done?
You have the
now?
entire Ingmar Bergman collection. You do too love schnobby films.
I mean, I didn't see but also, Mean Streets. So I saw somebody in the chat bring up Mean Streets. Mean Streets is a Criterion movie, It is a Marty Scorsese film that they did, but they also did Train Spotting, and they also did, Tales of Four Seasons. They did the Heroic Trio / the Executioners. Criterion likes to bring sort of a mix of everybody else's collection, because if you want the Hong Kong action films, they have some of those. If you want the 70s era of films, they have some of those. You want some random art house film, they have those. And I mean, it's got something for everybody. You want a documentary about David Bowie, they've got a documentary about David Bowie. You want Orson Welles films, they have Orson Welles films. Citizen Kane, The Trial, F is for Fake, just to name a few. You want David Lynch, they'll give you David Lynch. I know that apparently a lot of people shit on Lars von Trier, and he, kind of a shit face, but he's made good movies. There are shit people that make movies that are good. I'm sorry. You want Michael Haneke. If I didn't remember that Bowling for Columbine was there, I was gonna go with oh fuck, I forget the name of it off the top of my Funny Games. Before I even got to the film, because I prefer the 2007 remake. It's a shot-for-shot remake, and it's in English rather than German. But it's a warning: if you seek either the 1997 original or the 2007 remake, this is a very dark film. It will make you uncomfortable. Fair warning on that.
I want to acknowledge Astrid's complex reaction to this. Would you like to elaborate what that means, ma'am?
Can't believe that you prefer the American remake to the original. That's all. That's wild. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's still Michael Haneke he's doing a shot-for-shot remake of his film, and there was just something that affected me more about the 2007 one over the 1997 one. I'm fucking sorry.
Glad you apologized.
And unfortunately, especially when it comes to Region 1 and even Arrow Video, there's not a lot of French films in there. Oui, je parle le français, et oui, j'aime le français, mais il n'y a pas de français dans these collections, right? And, sometimes I want to watch a French film, and sometimes they kind of surprise me, and it's good. you know. And you know, there's the real history of film when it comes to the Criterion, because you will get films from the Soviet era, and we have a very interesting take on different themes that Western directors have, such as World War II. Very different dynamic. And again, I'm not gonna like everything in every collection because I'm human and I can't like every. We're talking over 1,200 films, not including the fucking Eclipse series, and also not including the Laserdisc collection, which has a completely different numbering system, such as the fact that Citizen Kane is number one in that, and also King Kong is in the Criterion Laserdisc collection. And whereas, you know, Citizen Kane didn't come back until Spine 1100 something, I want to say. And you know, it's fun watching the history. Plus, again, daisies, if we want to talk about weird sort of like fucking films from that Wild West era, like Daisies is fucking wild. um and you know, they put Cure in the collection, so on and so forth, Lost Highways in there, Exotica is in the collection, Canadian film 1994 that has, you think it's going one way and then it goes the completely other way and you're like, what the fuck. I'm waiting for the auditor to finally come into the collection. If you have not checked out Otem, I think it's Egon Yan, any of his films, highly recommend. You know, but again, these things trickle out. Each of the companies do about 5, maybe 7 releases a month, and these things take a minute to get out.
On that note,
Unfortunately.
I got a question from chat that we have started to unpack a little bit, but I would like a little more detail on. What was the first movie of your collection that made you explore the rest of the library? What was your gateway movie?
Yeah, for me it was Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. Fulci was known in horror circles as the maestro of gore, and that was kind of like his whole thing, was doing gory, bloody movies. So he's most well known for Zombie, which was an Italian prequel to the Night of the Living Dead that Romero did not know of or approve of. And a lot of our early concepts of zombie designs after, because when Romero was doing it, it was basically just people in gray makeup to make them look pale and more dead and stuff. But Fulci was out here doing like just rotting corpses coming out of the ground and stuff, and he was one of the pioneers of making zombies look that way. So when I was looking for Lucio Fulci movies, because I just saw Zombie, I was like, that was fantastic. I went to look for more, and I saw this movie, Don't Torture a Duckling. The title, immediately I was like, well, that sounds terrifying. And it said that Arrow Video had just restored it. And I went and watched it, and that's what made me go, what else does this Arrow Video have? And went further. And that was the movie for me.
This is gonna come as no surprise to anybody, but have any of you heard of a movie called House? That was my first movie with this collection, and I jumped the fucking.
I am not surprised at all, but I am floored by that information. Thank you.
Yes.
I have a follow-up question inspired by chat's question. If you have to recommend a movie to others to be their gateway movie for your collection, which one are you putting in their hands?
Oh, so
Why?
I sent you the trailer. Go watch that trailer. Come and See is really good, but also will make you emotional because it's like like
Oh God.
again, the Soviet era.
Are those the two choices that you have for people to get into Criterion is House Suit or Come and See? Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
I mean, no.
God
The Come and
damn.
See was me responding to somebody in chat.
Oh, I see. Sweet Peeps. Damn. Damn, Sweet Peeps.
Oh.
Astrid, what are you putting in people's hands?
I'm sorry, I got a little bit derailed. I was looking through the movies and like, is there anything better than what I'm already thinking of?
Oh.
Shit.
I agree. Persona's really good, and also Stalker is really good. Sorry, I'm responding with peeps again. I'm sorry.
I think that a good movie to get into, partially the vibe of what Arrow is kind of like offering and what they want to show you would probably be like hold on, let me check the now I'll just go with my first thing. It would either be, in my opinion, what Abby mentioned earlier, which was Audition. I think is a fantastic film for understanding like the kind of vibe that Arrow has drawn from in their larger bits of their catalog. And also, I would say 12 Monkeys is another one that is a really good pick for kind of like underground sci-fi that they also really like dig into a lot in their collection. So I would say you have kind of like the both ways that you're going there. If you're like, hey, I've heard Arrow has a lot of horror films and like a little bit of like exploitation vibes and stuff like that, I would say, hey, Audition's something that they have. Take a look. And this is kind of like what they're offering if you want to get more into it. And if you're like, I really want to see some really good, but also kind of unknown sci-fi movies, 12 Monkeys is a good one to go to as well. I'd say those two.
Thank you. At this point, you've heard a lot of each other's takes, some of them spicier than others. What answers do you require from each other at this point?
What answers? What do you mean by what answers?
Like, what questions do you have for each other? What do you want to grill each other on? What answers do you need about these takes?
Oh.
I have a question for you, Abby.
Okay, go on.
It sounds like you hate the Criterion Collection after everything that I've heard today. It sounds like you like Ingmar Bergman and Japanese film directors and
And David Lynch.
especially
Don't forget David
Houseu.
Lynch.
No. I don't think Abby mentioned David Lynch. I think to be like, oh, I love David Lynch, but meant it more as a Astrid, you like David Lynch. So over here, my collection has it. That's what I think.
Astrid.
So
Astrid, I hope
I
you
wanna point
know
out-
that I do an impression of David Lynch, which is now the third time today I have done this impression. I'll have you
Oh, is that who it
know.
was?
Yes.
I got you. Okay. So you hate Hitchcock
Correct.
and you're not even willing to give a chance to The Rock. And I'm assuming that you're not willing to give a chance to a lot of other filmmakers in general in the Criterion list. I'm just curious, like, was there a defense you had for this collection, or was it just
What do you mean was their defense?
No, I'm just wondering. I was criticizing it, and you were also criticizing it. So I'm curious if there's like something that you're like, okay, but this inherently makes it better than Arrow Video.
Houseu, David Lynch, David Cronenberg. And I know that
The immediate
apparently
house.
and I get that this panel apparently hates Wes Anderson. But Wes Anderson, because I have every one of his movies, because I really like Wes Anderson. I'm fucking not sorry that I fucking love Wes Anderson. Okay? His films are
I'm
very
glad that
amusing.
you like squares on your screen and rectangles. You like rectangularly boxed scenes. I understand.
Also, there's more than just Kurosawa when it comes to the Japanese. There's also Ozu, and I mentioned Suzuki. Like, I loved the Japanese noir films that are in there. Tokyo Drifter. If you fucking haven't seen Tokyo Drifter and you want a goddamn noir film from Tokyo / Japan, because they kind of go from there you go. One of the things that I love about both collections is you can see the evolution of Japan post World War II into the bright neon light extravaganza that we see Japan today. You get to see that evolution through the Criterion Collection and even through Arrow because of films like Female Prisoner Scorpion and even more so Stray Cat Rocks, because that kind of describes itself as taking place during the modern day, though also so does Female Prisoner Scorpion, but very much Stray Cat Rocks is that film series that you kind of just see a bunch of teenagers / young adults just fucking about in modern day while also being in gangs, but yes, Tokyo Drifter. You also have films like as I'm trying to look over my shelf and see things. Again, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. If you haven't seen Hedwig and the Angry Inch, it is my favorite musical film ever. I hate the Broadway. Sorry, Neil Patrick Harris. You just kind of make the song sound weird. Please don't kill me. Again, you can experience John Waters. John Waters, fabulous. If you've never seen a John Waters film, prepare to have your mind fucked in a good way. Again, you can experience a lot of good things. Yes, they've done stupid worrying things, but what company hasn't? Every fucking company does something worrying. So, yeah, because, Pink Flamingos is in the collection, as I'm seeing Peeps type of chat. You also have, if you're wondering what I'm doing cranking my neck like this, it's because my shelves are over there, and You just see them there. Also, you can experience.
I thought you were looking directly at Astrid, because when you do that, you look directly into her panel.
I do? Oh.
You do.
Well, there you go. And then, you know, there's also a Korean film experience. That is actually something that I've wanted to mention, especially about Arrow, is that I feel like the Korean film industry doesn't get enough love for the Southeast Asian film market. And that's what both these collections try to do. As we mentioned, you know, you can watch the Vengeance trilogy through Arrow. You can watch Bong Joon-ho's stuff because, again, they have Parasite. They have the film before Parasite, which is Okja, and then they have Memories of Murder, which was his first film. So it's a way to be able to experience things that you might not possibly have been able to do easily, which is what these collections really allow us to do, is experience something that may have been difficult to do without them, because where the fuck would you go? Where the fuck would you search? Sometimes you don't like going onto a forum because, Jesus Christ, have you ever been on Reddit? That shit is nuts. I got yelled at so much when I was trying to find a film that scarred me for 27 years, which was Brain Scan, by the way, because I didn't remember the film name, but it scarred me because my uncle showed it to me when I was like 4. And it fucking, by the way, it's not exactly the greatest film in the world. It's kind of It's got Edward Furlong, so if you want to deal with that, go ahead. But again, it's a way to experience these things, and, you know, Criterion does that, Arrow does that, Shout Factory does that, Kino does that, and even to some extent, you know, Vinegar Syndrome does that. Of course, if you want to get Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, you have to go through Vinegar Syndrome. Yeah.
But Abby, I'm not asking about what Arrow Video and Shout Factory and Criterion do. I'm asking about what Criterion does. And it started out that way. You're like, how, Sue, Ingmar Bergman, you went down the list. And I'm just saying, is that, I'm just saying, you once said, I don't want to come off like a film schnob, but never mind, Abby. That we don't have to go there. It's okay.
I mean, I don't know how that comes off as a film snob by listing off films that I've been able to experience because of the Criterion Collection. I'm sure you did the same thing with Arrow Video. I could say the same thing.
The Rock is right there, Abby. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is you could watch The Rock today.
You could, and your life would be better for it.
Except for it's not in the but it's not in the Criterion Collection anymore. It's out of print. It's out of date. It no longer exists. Things go out of print. There are things that Arrow Video has had.
Criterion Collection's failed you, Big Scared.
Listen. You don't have to watch The Rock. Armageddon is right there. Pearl Harbor is right there.
Pearl Harbor was never in the Criterion Collection, so na.
Freddy Got Fingered is right there.
Also not in the collection.
Okay, speaking of movies that are not in either collection, lightning round. Which collection is more likely to adopt Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Neither. I can't see it.
It's being sorted somewhere. You have to pick which one is taking it.
You know, it's funny. If you asked me this a few years ago, I would have said Arrow, because Arrow would look at something like that and go, hey, this is some hot garbage from a movement that started nothing. We could throw this in there. But now Criterion's opening up the doors to like WALL-E, so they're just like, yeah, I mean, popular film that was created for mass entertainment, and that's about it. Let's just do that. Let's just throw Paul Blart Mall Cop in
Paul
there.
Blart is
Criterion would do it.
okay, first of all, if they're throwing fucking Paul Blart in there, they're throwing every Adam Sandler title in there. All
Jack
right?
and Jill,
Which
where's
They
it
probably
going?
will.
Where is it going?
Shout Factory.
Jack
where
and
that's
Jill.
Nope.
Yeah, that's
between
true.
the
It
two.
is Shout
Between
Factory,
the two.
but if it's Arrow.
Yeah.
Abby, I'm trying to help you.
What do you mean?
I'm
you're
trying to help you.
The Fast and the Furious. Who adopts it?
Fast and the Furious? That would probably be Arrow again.
Yeah, also Arrow. I'm trying to help you by not I'm giving you these windows. Whenever I have something that I'm like, I don't want to answer that, I just give it a one-word answer, and you're just like, yep. And I'm like, Abby, you could strike me, you could attack. My throat is right here. you could rip it out. I'm laying it in your hands.
Yeah, this is your opportunity, Abby. What questions do you have of Astrid? She's come for your jugular. It's your turn to enact retribution.
Okay.
Seek the blood.
All right, if I'm seek the blood. All right, since you were fellatiating Alfred Hitchcock, where the fuck's Hitchcock in your collection? His own country betrays him, apparently. So where the fuck is Hitchcock, huh? Huh? You know, he's from England. And where's Arrow Video? England. So where's their hero? Oh, right, because they know he sucks ass. So they're not his. So
you almost had it, and then you're like, "Oh, he sucks ass." So Criterion has to pick it up. I don't understand, Abby. The self-destruction. But anyways, to answer your question, because in my opinion, I think Hitchcock's films are really good. Why are they not in the Arrow Video collection? They are not in the Arrow Video collection because Arrow, compared to Criterion, does not have the as I mentioned in my introduction, they do not have the influence, nor the reach, nor the power that Criterion does. And as such, Arrow does what they can to pick up the pieces from what Criterion leaves behind, because their posh fingers of delicate love for only the finest films leave behind some of the greatest movements of film. That's all I'm saying.
Are we going there? Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, ho, ho. You talk about the greatest era of films and having your schmancies fit. Bitch. I'm afraid Crimson Peak is in Arrow Video. All right?
That is correct. Do you have a problem with Guillermo del Toro?
No,
yeah, Abby, do you
but
have
I'm
a problem
going
with Guillermo del Toro? I need to
But
know
no,
the answer
also
to this.
because Astrid's out here being like, "Oh, Criterion only has the finest selection. They are film schnapps." Yeah, is that why Arrow has the Tauso trilogy? Huh? Tauso trilogy. All right. You want to talk about how they only have Grindhouse and that they support the blah 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 blah. Bitch, they have
They only
Time
had
Bandits.
Grindhouse.
Yeah, well, they have Time Bandits. I believe that's called a schnobby film. I believe. So there you go. There's another example.
Who considers Time Bandits a schnobby film?
Time Bandits is garbage, and that's why it's based. Have you seen
what about the
Time
Abby,
Bandits?
This reminds me of that time where you said with a straight face in your stream that Devil May Cry is not weeb shit. I remember that. You've lost the narrative. You've been bathing in the film schnobbiness. That when somebody gets just a little bit of renown, just a little bit of renown added to what they're doing, you're just like, oh ho, So you think that you're up to snuff? That's what's going on.
No, because also the Buddhist trilogy. See, you're all like, it's all about the grindhouse for them. Yeah, that's why they have the Buddhist trilogy, right? That's why they have the 1978 classic, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's why
I'm
they
not
have.
saying that they only do Grindhouse. I'm saying that Criterion doesn't. And that is what disqualifies Criterion.
Sallow, hello. You're gonna call Sallow not a grindhouse film when many people.
It's
consider
not
it
a
the most-
Grindhouse film! How the fuck do you watch Solo and go, ah, yes, this
That's you
is
didn't even
a
let me
fucking
finish my
Grindhouse
sentence,
film.
but okay. People call it the most disturbing film ever made, and it was also part of the Wild Wild West because you couldn't make that today. Film, you know. And again, like, you know, that you act like they don't. Wolf of Wall Street is in the Arrow video collection, so don't give me this non-snobby bullshit, okay? How are you going to call Criterion Schnobfest when the Wolf of fucking Wall Street is sitting in your own collection?
Chat has
I wanna
asked a
talk
very
about
important
Solo
question.
real quick.
Go ahead, Astrid.
Solo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, is a film that is what do you call it? An allegory to the rise of fascism in Italy, and it is about revealing the nature of the fascist soul in its attempt to basically describe the perversion and the evil and the cruelty and the horror of the oppression of fascism and its appropriation of religious thoughts, theology, and concepts to twist them all into a measure of control against the most vulnerable people that can possibly be controlled. This is not what the exploitation movement of the 1970s and grindhouse films by and large were about. There is no one who is a fan of grindhouse and exploitation that would be like including Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom in the conversation with those films. I posit once again, Abby, you've been sitting on this throne of the movie schnob, and you somehow look down upon the sea of movies below you, and you go, this one right here, that's John Waters. That is the closest I will get into the grindhouse scene. And over here,
Hello?
this is Salo. I saw naked people in it, penises and titties,
I haven't
and
seen
some
it yet,
things
but
being
sure.
chopped off. That must be you haven't seen Abby. Abby.
But also, you make it look like I haven't seen Female Prisoner Score. I have seen Grindhouse. You're making it look like I only watch Criterion. Also, one more thing about Arrow. They have fucking Waterworld in the collection. Okay? Waterworld.
Waterworld is a vastly underappreciated movie that had one of the most expensive set designs of all time. Yes, Waterworld is in the collection.
Waterworld fucking whips, okay? It's a good movie.
Also, Boyhood
after
is also in the
Waterworld.
collection.
That's one of the few I haven't seen.
So, also, I was almost about to lie that Hitchcock was in the collection, but no, it didn't include the original Psycho. It's only Psycho 2, 3, and 4.
Which Psycho 2 is a fantastic film, by the way.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I haven't seen it yet. Actually, I
Abby,
haven't. What?
there's so many movies we have to get you to see in your own collection.
I feel like we need
have
to,
to.
when we go through this VOD later on, we need to add a counter for every time Abby says she has not seen the movie.
Also, one of the injustices of Arrow Video is that the UK did not even get Solid Metal Nightmares. There was no excuse for that. There was no excuse for that. How do you justify that, How do you?
Probably
Justify
at least
it, I dare you.
for... Yeah, it's probably at least for the same reasons that Criterion isn't able to get a lot of their hands on the same films. I don't know what to tell you.
What other burning questions do you have for each other? What other answers do you need?
I am ready for closing statements if we have them.
Absolutely.
I have heard Abby talk down her own collection enough.
Okay.
I simply I'm ready, but Abby, if you will have another case to make.
Abby, do you have any burning questions, final remarks before we move into the closing?
Also, by the way, Dr. Is it Phoebus? Phoebes? Those are available on Blu-ray, both films on Arrow, but you need Region 2. Yes, also, they also have the Lone Wolf and Cub saga, so there you go. Like, again, they're just the European Criterion.
Okay. A bold
Word.
statement. Abby, I'm going to let you lead the charge on final remarks. Is there anything you would like to say in defense of yourself?
Defense of myself? What do you mean
I don't know. I'm
defense of
just
myself?
razzing you. In defense of Criterion, in support of Criterion, any what's left on the docket, gamer?
What's left? There are some excellent films that you should check out. It's okay that not everything's fucking perfect, because apparently my opponent thinks that everything needs to be fucking perfect for their fucking thing in order to win. No. It's okay to acknowledge faults! God. Quite alright. There are many great films that you can check out. If you need a list, I can provide you a list of excellent films to check out. Definitely recommend. And boutique Blu-rays are a bit more on the expensive side, but they're worth it because if you're a fan of special features, Criterion is the best at the special feature game. They invented the commentary track, and when they're on it, they are fucking on it, unlike a certain somebody's fucking goddamn piece of shit bullshit features, Arrow videos, fucking god fucking damn it, those fucking features, motherfucker, like fuck you and your fucking goddamn features. Don't even fucking give me anything that fucking's worth fucking getting for. God fucking damn it!
Tell us how you really feel, Abby.
Fucking hate their features unless they're the only option in town, in which case, let's go. And they don't even have the best version of Audition anymore, for God's sake. Just.
And on that note, Astrid, what would you like to say for yourself and your distributor?
In closing, I think that the Arrow Video Collection is often looked over in favor of the Criterion Collection, and I do think that that's a shame. I think that it is a very good distributor. I think that they have a lot of really great films that are often overlooked and very, very many times by Criterion themselves. And as a result, I think that the entire collection and their catalog, which does feature some of my favorite film movements, is seen as somewhat being lesser by so many people, like my opponent, who believe that in these, because it is not on the list of the Criterion preferred choice, it must therefore be more insignificant. And I'm here to say, absolutely not. I love movies. I love films. And I think that they should be restored and people should have access to them. And I think that the dedication for wanting to be a part of the cinema conversation in all of its aspects, especially in what's underground and what is cult filmmaking, should be appreciated and not overlooked ever. And that is what I have to say for Arrow, because Arrow Video does that extremely well.
Thank you, gamers. I think a good ending note for us to leave this on is the simple question from chat. Can we agree that movies are a thing?
Yes, movies are a thing that should be enjoyed. And that's why we need an Arrow video, because again, not everybody's gonna, again, Criterion's not gonna release everything. That's why we have a Criterion, an Arrow, a Shout Factory, a Kino Lorber, a Vinegar Syndrome, Trauma Films, a Second Sight, that weird German company whose name escapes me, and a Studio Canal. Again, through their powers combined, they form Captain Film Restoration. Like, it's not a one person has to save the world of film here. It's everybody working together. Criterion is not wishing for the death of Arrow. Arrow's not wishing for the death of this. Some people like their shit more. I'm sorry that I didn't try to treat this like a US presidential debate. And be like, your shit sucks. I'm sorry that I could recognize that everybody's good at something and we're all needed here to be able to create the film genre of worlds. I have everybody that I just listed up, minus Trauma and Vinegar Syndrome, mind you, because they don't have anything that I'm interested in except for, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and 4K over on the shelf.
I do think it is worth pointing out that this is a grand statement from someone that would obliterate Michael Bay.
Yes, but it's also somebody who obliterated the West Coast.
And apparently also the East Coast. What's left, Abby? What is left after your reign of terror?
I don't know.
Beautiful.
I don't know what happens.
I also agree. Movies are a thing, and I love them. That's all I have to say.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
But yeah.
On that note, where can we find you? Abby, let's start with you. Where on the internet can we find you if the people were looking for you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Abby's Corner. Apparently, it's my affiliate anniversary today or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. I don't pay attention to that. But apparently, that's today. You can find me at twitter.com/Abby_Brander. I'm sorry, Elon. Go fuck yourself. You can find me at Blue Sky. How do fucking people find people on Blue Sky? Abby's Corner .bluesky or bsky.social. Yeah, you can find me on those places. You can. Yeah, I don't know if I want to reveal that other thing yet, but something possibly coming soon? Question mark.
Oh, I guess
Astrid.
people are gonna have to follow you on socials to stay tuned.
Astrid, where can people find you?
Yes, where on the internet can we find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Astrid the Horror Girl. I just play horror games and I speedrun horror games, and that's mostly what I do. So, yeah.
Now, I heard a little rumor that folks who are going to be tuning in to a certain run at Games Done Quick this summer might catch you around. Is that true?
I will be doing commentary for Gulch running Necrovision Lost Company. And I also may be doing something with Suave Peanut for Alan Wake 2, but we'll see.
Incredible. I think on that note, I appreciate you both joining me for this experiment in dialogue. I look forward to more civil and completely normal conversations about things like cinema and games and other things in our future. But I think on that note, it's time to raid out, and I'm going to drop us off at Preventathon. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Okally dokally.
Alrighty, let us get that set up. And most importantly, thank you, chat, for being here. Preventathon is run by our member, Selkuth Mind. It is a very cool organization, raising a lot of money for a very cool nonprofit. So come along, say hello, and hopefully we'll see you there. Have a great one.